Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I, like many of you, didn't think I was going to say anything either, so I'm going to try to keep these brief, and I'm not going to throw a bunch of statistics out there. I think we've heard so many statistics, I don't know how anyone would know which one's right and which one's wrong. But I hear from some of my constituents as they're watching this, and they are wondering if we're actually all sitting in the same room, much less looking at the same budget. But, Mr. Speaker, in addition to rising to support House Bill 1437, I think it's imperative to address two comments. One that was made by one of the previous minority member speakers, which I and some of our colleagues, as well as some of my constituents, were somewhat flabbergasted by. When the gentleman stood and he said that we are not paid to think. Well, that might very well be the reason our budget got into the situation it did in previous administrations. It might be why we end up having to borrow $4 billion additional dollars because people weren't thinking. That's not the case with House Bill 1437. And more importantly, I think the taxpayers of Pennsylvania expect you to think, and that's what they're paying you to do. This budget is very well thought out. It is not necessarily what everyone wants, but the reality is it is a budget that has been promised to be spending no more money than what we have, not more money, borrowing money we don't have, that future children that many people speak about wanting to help will be ultimately stuck paying. So, Mr. Speaker, I don't think that comment reflects the majority of the members of this room, both Republican and Democrat, and I want people in TV land thinking that we're all sitting here not thinking, because I think many of us try to do a great job. The second fact I think is very important to talk about, we hear about Marcellus Shale tax. If we just had another tax. Well, isn't that what the public's tired of? More taxes on them? We're going to raise more taxes? And here they're talking about Marcellus Shale tax. Well, I find it great irony that when this body was governed by the very members of the minority party who are calling for this Marcellus Shale tax under a Democrat governor, they didn't implement one. So how much did they raise by not implementing that? $0. Since the enactment of the impact fee, which we did in a bipartisan manner in this chamber, the Commonwealth has acquired over $400 million. $400 million. That's more than what we're going to see by freezing the capital stock and franchise tax. But more importantly, that is the money that has helped us balance our budget, help feed people, help keep our hospitals going, help fund our schools, take care of our seniors, and yes, look after the veterans of our Commonwealth. Mr. Speaker, the Marcellus Shale natural gas industry has contributed not only in tremendous job growth, but repair of our roads in many of our communities. When we did a tour as the Finance Committee, many of our community members in those small townships said that they got more roads paved than they could ever do in a lifetime by the liquid fuels money that they get. Mr. Speaker, collectively, we've seen over $2 billion come into this Commonwealth, which has helped us balance our budget. So we want to talk numbers. Let's talk about some facts. Let's think hard, think straight, and support House Bill 1437 so we can meet our statutory obligation and get this bill done on time for the third year in a row without raising taxes.
Sure, thanks.